impartial. End of quote. So Razia Iqbal asked Ruth Bader Ginsburg this question, quote, so if a senator says, I've already made up my mind and the trial doesn't exist at the moment, there is no accountability, is there? End of quote. Here's Ginsburg's response, quote, if a judge said that, a judge would be disqualified from the case, end of quote. She also invoked a statement from former Justice William Rehnquist saying this, the day a judge stops being impartial and starts to do things to please the home crowd, that's the day the judge should step down from office. On Twitter, Trump suggested that the Supreme Court could intervene, saying, quote, radical left has no case, all in uppercase letters, no case.
Radical.
Read the transcript, shouldn't even be allowed. Can we go to the Supreme Court to stop? End of quote. Let me stop there. There is no transcript. There is no transcript. There's notes. We don't have a transcript.
And guess who compiled them?
Yeah. The same orange moron that made the phone call.
Same orange moron that penned a letter to Pelosi, which was a brew of intimidation, groveling, absolute distortion of facts. You know, the Mein Kampf, they said, I've studied it in college, can you see signs of insanity in the Mein Kampf? Forget it. Take Trump's letter to Pelosi. Throw the Mein Kampf out. Take that letter as an analytical device to look at insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm had enough with this article, but I do want to go to one more. And actually, I'm just going to mention this one real quick. We have an article up on our website. It's actually an article that you found from thebulwark.com, BULWARK. It's by Charles Sykes, dated December 16th. The headline reads, Impeach and Withhold. And then the headline underneath that says, Senate Republicans have said they intend to violate their impeachment trial oaths. The House shouldn't let them. So there's an argument that the House should withhold the impeachment and not send the charges over to the Senate right away. And it sounds like that's what's going to happen.
Right away. I'd say never.
Never.
You have a Donald McConnell, right?
Yeah.
Vowing, I'm not going to look at this fairly.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Lindsey Graham has said the same thing.
Lindsey Graham, same thing. Yeah. Why would you put your laundry under the dog's leg?
It's not my job to be an impartial juror.
There's no hurry. How long did McConnell sit on, and I can never think of this guy's name.
Merrick Garland.
The nominee, the Democratic nominee under Obama's reign, if I'm not mistaken, right?
For a year.
For the Supreme Court.
For a year.
Yeah. No, nobody had their panties tied in a knot over that.
Yeah. We should have.
Make them squirm.
Yeah.
Play it. Everybody's worried about the 2020 election. There's nothing that's happened up to this point that would help Trump in an election. Nothing.
Not really. And the more unhinged he gets and the more the people see his unhingement unfold right on national television and on social media, maybe some eyes will start opening up. At least that's my hope.
So here's your play. Just like a coach before a team's game. So this is how we're going to attack them. Democrats, all they got to do is say, the Republicans have vowed to completely ignore the case. So we're not going to hand it to them. That's plan number one.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, your president, blocked 20 witnesses with pertinent information. And you play that over and over and over up through the election cycle. And if you never give it to the Senate, who cares? Because you could say, we need to go around them because they have an obstruction. Just like they've obstructed how many? You see the pile of bills that have sat there?
Over 400 bills are sitting in the Senate that have already been voted on in the House of Representatives, and they're sitting there collecting dust because Mitch McConnell refuses to do his job and put them to a vote on the Senate floor.
So you send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, you're hitting a brick wall. You're running into it head first. And I've heard the idiotic Republicans go on and on. Oh, let's get back to business. Let's start getting things done. Oh, really? We're going to get things done? What are you going to get done?
Do nothing McConnell. Do nothing Turtle Man. Yeah, Kentucky sure knows how to pick him, don't they? They got McConnell. They got Rand Paul. Then they got Matt Bevin, who released a whole bunch of criminals as he was heading out the door as Kentucky's governor.
Criminals. These are worse than criminals. These are sadists. This guy cut his wife's head off, put it in a barrel.
You put her in a barrel after he cut her head off.
And he's out the door now.
Out the door, he's had his sentence shortened, one or the other. This is just, can you make this up, Jack? Can you make up the insanity? I shouldn't even say stupidity. This is on insanity.
Yeah.
Of the Republicans.
Yeah.
The grudges they hold. Oh, I'll get even with those sons of bitches that voted me out of office. I'll release all these dangerous criminals.
Can you believe? I mean, really?
And that's pretty much what it is, except for the ones that he released because either they or family members of theirs donated to his campaign.
See, we live
in there's your quid pro quo right there, folks.
Yeah, exactly. We live in an atmosphere of insanity so that you've lost all standard to gauge what's proper. You can get a president who says he wants to nuke hurricanes, or a president that says he wants to buy, was it Greenland or Iceland? Or both, I don't know.
I forget which one.
It goes on. And so you get comments like this one, and they pass. They literally pass. A Christian pastor suggests that Greta Thunberg is demonically possessed and needs Jesus. A Colorado radio host,
for Christ's sakes,
wished for a nice school shooting to disrupt Trump's impeachment.
And by the way, that guy got fired from his radio job that day. But his co-host called him out. Oh, you shouldn't say that.
But you wouldn't have dared say anything like that. No president would have ever said, "Hey, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue." Let
me go back into history a little bit here. Alan Berg was murdered in his driveway by neo-Nazi skinhead white supremacists because he called them out on his radio show. Yep. Yet this son of a bitch says there needs to be a school shooting to distract us from the impeachment, and all he gets is fired. He's lucky he's not in jail. He should be arrested.
The parents in Vermont, the parents in Columbine, right there in Colorado. They just had a shooting a week ago in Colorado.
Yeah.
And you are that numb, you can actually think you can say that? I mean, there's
Aurora.
It
happened
slips.
in Aurora.
Yeah, I know.
It's
there
unbelievable.
Slips constantly, but that's not a slip. That's just how unconscious this population is.
By the way, they didn't replace him with anybody much better. After they kicked this guy off the air, they replaced him with the syndicated Sebastian Gorka show. You remember the guy we played the clip on here? They're coming for your hamburgers. And like, oh, God. Sebastian Gorka.
Well, I got a suggestion. Replace him with that show called the Southpaws.
Yeah, exactly.
We're out there in New Mexico. That's not far from Colorado. Put us on.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
You couldn't handle it.
Any of you commercial radio stations that want to give us a try, you contact me, and we'll make the money happen. I tell you what, let's, because you need a paycheck, so do I. So I tell you what, let's go on to our next segment here, but in order to do that, we got to play the appropriate music.
Hammer time.
Oh, yeah, it's hammer time. It's time to drop the hammer on the douchebag of the week, and we have not one, not two, but three winners this week. Winner number one is a group award. 1 Million Moms / the American Family Association. What happened? I have this story. This is from the Associated Press. This is Jocelyn Novak writing December 14th out of New York. Under pressure from a conservative advocacy group, the Hallmark Channel has pulled ads for a wedding planning website that featured two brides kissing at the altar. And I'm just going to skip over it a little bit. The name of the website is, I believe, Zulo.
Yeah.
Zola.
Yep.
Excuse me, Zola. So the group 1 Million Moms complained to Hallmark, and so Hallmark said, "Oh, we don't want it. We're going to not vote for or against. We're going to stand in the middle. We're just going to pull all the advertising."
I've heard of the people who think like that, standing in the middle.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, they submitted 6 ads, Zola did. 4 of them had a lesbian couple. So after Hallmark pulled those ads but kept the other two, Zola said, nope, this isn't cool. We're pulling the rest of our advertising. Well, we have an update to this because of the Twitter controversy over this, the huge lashback. Hallmark Channel has changed their mind. They're going to allow the ads now if Zola is willing to run the ads on that channel. Ellen DeGeneres came out against the Hallmark Channel. William Shatner, Captain Kirk of all people, came out and said, this is wrong.
Here's the thing, Darren.
Yeah.
We have statements now that fly under the radar, and people are just either accustomed to them. One of them was Trump taking a shot at the recently deceased Dingo.
We're going to get to that. I've got the clip. Just hold on.
Hold the horses. Okay.
Hold the horses. Because winner number 2 is Nolan Finley, writer for the Detroit News. He wrote an opinion piece on December 14th about climate change activists, and we can now call her Time Magazine Person of the Year, Greta Thunberg.
Yep.
Here's what he wrote in his column. In naming Team Greta Thunberg as its Person of the Year, Time Magazine perpetuates the doomsday myth that risks pushing the world toward disastrous climate change policies. Ooh, Jack. This youngest of global warming zealots is touted as the child that will lead us to salvation of the planet. Her screeds have gained an audience before the world's most powerful policy-making bodies, which she insolently scolds for cheating children like her of their futures. The 16-year-old Swede has become the voice of a generation that will wake up Christmas morning to gift boxes filled with all the latest electronic gadgets and gizmos, which will immediately be plugged into an electric grid still powered by fossil fuels.
Don't even give this a-hole airtime.
Yeah.
It's sickening. Absolutely sickening. That's the sound of your establishment neoliberal right there. And then you mix that with the pastor who said she's demonically possessed.
Well, he goes on to say, well, we can't do all this change all at once. We need to slowly implement these things. Haven't we heard this before? Centrist Democrats, we can't have single-payer universal health care in this country.
Unicorn.
We have to have slow implementation of changes to the Affordable Care Act
pie in the sky.
and protect that before we go for single-payer universal health care.
I don't know this guy's name.
Nolan Finley.
But if you do any research on him, he's a batter. He's a cleanup hitter for the conservative establishment.
Let me read his last 2 paragraphs here. But there's little policymakers can do that we can't do ourselves. We can drive electric cars. We can downsize our houses. We can dial down the heat and forego air conditioning. We can unplug our devices. We can leave the car in the garage and walk. We can travel less. We can stop buying cheap stuff from China and other heavily polluting countries. That would be more impactful than hoisting a troubled Greta Thunberg onto a pedestal to play Joan of Arc of the climate crusade. Yeah. And by the way, Nolan Finley is on Detroit Public TV every Friday night at 7:30. So you listeners that are in the Detroit area, call him up and tell him that he's an asshole. Because that's just exactly what he is.
Greta Thunberg stood in front of the leaders and said, you're not doing anything. You want to put your sandwich in plastic bags. You want to recycle. Nothing. Drops in the hat. Mm-hmm. Our president turned his back on the Tokyo Accord. It goes on and on. It's flagrantly unresponsible, and she's calling them on it, and they can't handle it.
That's right. Well, then we've got winner number 3 for the second week in a row. Donald Trump wins Douchebag of the Week yet again for this comment that he made in Battle Creek Wednesday night about deceased former Congressman John Dingell. Take a listen to this, folks.
Then you have this Dingell. You know Dingell from Michigan? You know Dingell? You ever hear of her, Michigan? Debbie Dingell, that's a real beauty. So she calls me up like 8 months ago. Her husband was here a long time. But I didn't give him the B treatment. I didn't give him the C or the D. I could have. Nobody would have, I gave the A+ treatment. Take down the flags. Why are you taking them down? For ex-Congressman Dingell. Oh, okay? Do this, do that, do that.